Most of us know a smooth talker that we just like at work. You can probably picture them even as I'm saying this. They've got that fake smile, they're spewing buzzwords, they're performing just to sound smart. But I don't want to talk about them today. I want to talk about someone else, the one who is actually stealing your promotion. And the most frustrating part about it, you probably actually like them a lot because they make you feel heard and safe and surprisingly respected. They're playing the game at a higher level. Meet the smart talker. See, the problem that most of us have with smooth talkers is that they're often all talk and no substance, right? Like when we say things like, oh, there goes Jerry again, talking big and doing nothing, we are really describing two things. They speak well, and that's communication, but they can't deliver. That's competence. So if you imagine a graph, simple graph, communication on one axis, competence is on the other. Smooth talkers are high on the talking, but low on the doing. So who's above them? Those are the ones who can do and talk at the same time. And who's beside them? The ones who can do, but don't talk about it, or don't know how to talk about it very well. That second group, the quiet ones, is where most Chinese professionals sit. Now, I don't mean here to stereotype. I'd be the last person to want to do that. But based on my experience working with many Chinese candidates, a very common thing that my Chinese candidates tell me is that they feel like they're doing 10 out of 10 on the job, but maybe when they're communicating it, they feel like they can only talk about 5 out of 10. Maybe it's because they're humble. In our culture, we are often taught to be 谦虚, right? Whereas they see for their Western coworkers, they have no problem doing 5 out of 10. Maybe they even ask you to do the other 5. And they will say that they did 11 out of 10. So as Chinese professionals, we tend to believe that our results should speak for themselves. But the truth is that they don't. Results whisper, communication amplifies. And the sweet spot, the top right corner of that imaginary graph, is where the smart talkers live. The ones who can do and talk about it. And that's where we all want to be. So, what does a smart talker actually look like? Well, early in my career, I worked with one every day. And the crazy part is I didn't realize it until the very end. Tom was in sales, and I was an analyst. And together, we would build pitch decks for his clients. So I remember we'd often sit late nights on the office patio, like 7 p.m. We'd be drinking cold beers, laptop to laptop, and we just grind and crush through slides. But one of those nights, we had a bit of a fight. I remember I'd spent hours and hours building this financial model that I was super excited about. I thought that the client would find it to be super exciting. But when I showed it to Tom, he wanted to cut almost all of it. I remember he said, John, the client just wants to feel confident. Like they don't want to get buried in the data here. And I remember my jaw just felt so tight and I just snapped back at him. Like, this is what gives them confidence, Tom. He leaned back in his chair. He was quiet for a moment. His beer bottle was resting against his knee. And then he said, hey, John, I'm not saying your work doesn't matter. It's brilliant, and I rely on it. I just think if we overload them, they'll stop listening before they even see how good it is. With a snap, I felt my rising defensiveness just vanish. Like in a single moment, he both respected my work and redirected us back to our shared goal. Okay, so what if we keep the full model for backup, but lead with the first 3 numbers that matter the most? And Tom just smiled. And he said, yeah, that's great. You bring the facts, I'll bring the story. In that moment, I realized why people loved working with him. He didn't know just how to talk. He knew how to make people feel safe while doing it. And over the years, I began to see a pattern in every smart talker. They build upon 2 foundations: mutual respect and mutual purpose. Respect builds a relationship, and purpose drives the results. If you can master both, then you can become the smart talker. So let's start with mutual respect. What is it? To me, mutual respect is the emotional condition that makes any conversation safe. And the fastest way to lose respect, you might be surprised, is not necessarily making a big mistake. It's when someone thinks that you're disrespecting them. Like maybe you've been in a situation where you were presenting an idea in a meeting and your colleague questions you and they say, is that idea really going to make sense to the VP? Maybe they asked with the best intent possible, but suddenly you're not hearing feedback. You're defending your worth because that feels like an attack. And that's why smart talkers use a simple, powerful tool called contrasting to build mutual respect. Contrasting has two simple steps. I call them the don't and the do. That's it. First, you want to say what you don't mean. This removes any possible misunderstanding. You're just over communicating here. And then you say the do. Say what you do mean. This clarifies your intent and builds respect. For example, imagine the same scenario, but instead your coworker questioned you in this way instead. I don't mean to say your idea isn't good. Your ideas are really valuable here. I just want to make sure that we present it in a way that lands as clearly as it deserves. Feels so much better, right? Mutual respect is saying what you truly mean, but with care. So second, I want to talk about mutual purpose, because without mutual purpose, conversations can become arguments instead of partnerships. In my experience, when people disagree, it's rarely actually about the goals, right? It's usually about how you want to achieve those goals. Smart talkers are going to find that mutual purpose between the two of you in two simple steps. First, they're going to find the purpose behind your idea. You want to dig deeper and discover the need below whatever this disagreement is about. So, a very simple question that you can ask is, why is this important to you? Second, based on what you learn, you can invent a mutual purpose. I don't mean, fabricating something and making something up. I mean that when purposes don't match at first, and they often won't, that's okay. You can go one level higher. Keep asking why, until you arrive at a larger goal that unites the two of you. For example, if you're having a disagreement with your colleague about how to present a slide to the VP, like I had with Tom, to find the purpose, you might first say, I'm hearing from you that you really want the VP to be confident in our numbers. Is that right? Sure. Then you're going to invent a mutual purpose. Well, we both want the VP to align on a recommendation, right? Yeah. So let's find a way to make both the numbers and the story work together. See, end of the day, we live in a world that is full of smooth talkers who are trying to sound important. If you want to be different, be the smart talker who makes others feel important. All right, it's time for a melon break. Time to 吃瓜. And in today's melon break, really interesting thing that's been happening recently. Bad Bunny just clapped back in 2 languages. So clap back is to respond sharply or wittily to criticism. Think like a playful or sassy comeback that you might see on social media when someone responds to a comment, or in real life when your coworker jokingly, hopefully, says something back to you. So Bad Bunny clapped back in 2 languages. For those of you who are not familiar, Bad Bunny is a Puerto Rican rapper, and he is on the rise. He's having a cultural moment for the ages. He is about to perform in the Super Bowl, the American Football League's largest game of the year, and arguably the largest sports game in the world. And earlier this month, he also opened at Saturday Night Live, which is a leading nighttime talk show. He had a mix of English and Spanish jokes, managed to throw shade at Fox News while he was doing it. To throw shade means to subtly insult or mock someone. But oftentimes you're doing it in a clever and sharp way. So the reason that he poked fun at Fox News was because they had originally complained that a Spanish-speaking artist would be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. And he said, everyone's happy, even Fox News. So after that, SNL, Saturday Night Live, played a fake video clip of the Fox hosts praising him, which was hilarious. And later, Bad Bunny spoke emotionally in English, thanking all Spanish-speaking people for opening doors and teasing the English speakers, saying, if you didn't understand what I just said, you have 4 months to learn. This career coach for Chinese professionals loves to see it. I love to see when a multicultural person feels confident in owning their culture and bringing their culture to such a large stage like the one that Bad Bunny has. Great to see. So, how can you use this at work? Well, if you're having small talk with coworkers, you can say, did you see how Bad Bunny roasted Fox News on SNL? I can't wait to see what he does next at the Super Bowl. Or, if you want a more professional tone with your boss, you can say, I thought Bad Bunny's bilingual SNL monologue was really smart. He seized a moment on a big stage to mix humor with culture perfectly. It really was a branding masterclass. Day Up is written, produced, and hosted with love by me, Jonathan Lee. If you want to support high-quality, free podcasting for Chinese professionals, please like and review this podcast. It would mean so much to hear from you. That's all for today. 下次再见，职场小伙伴们。